There is a rumor that in order for a Rolex to actually leave the factory or be a Rolex design, it has to be recognizable from 20 feet away.
Rolex fans were shocked when Chinese manufacturers went live and showed the world some hidden secrets about the famous watch brand. The videos quickly got people talking as they exposed things Rolex never wanted anyone to see. What really goes on inside these luxury watches? Join us as we expose the secrets Rolex have been hiding all along. Rolex's craft under spotlight. Imagine this scenario. Chinese manufacturers are now showcasing the inner workings of Rolex watches on the internet. They are making comparisons and exposing details, causing Rolex's reputation for secrecy to be questioned. The main point here is straightforward. Rolex became famous for its air of mystery, expert craftsmanship, and the magic of Swiss watchmaking. However, with these live videos, fans worldwide are getting a glimpse into the inner workings of the company. Rather than just admiring the finished products, they're now able to see the intricate gears, hidden components, and manufacturing processes. This level of transparency was not expected by Rolex. The company prefers to keep its secrets closely guarded. Now, let's consider the consequences that can happen. When individuals get a glimpse inside the watch, they start to question whether Rolex is perfect. Are those inner components worth the high cost? Rolex is famous for its expensive prices, not just for the watch itself, but also for its reputation. If the perceived aura disappears, the allure and worth may diminish as well. This could impact customer confidence. Some potential buyers might hesitate before spending a large amount of money, reconsidering their desire for the luxury wristwatch. Rolex has announced that they will be increasing prices in the US market by 3%. Due to global trade pressures and currency shifts. This price hike comes at a time when people are already feeling the pinch in their wallets, making the increase even more painful. Customers may be questioning what exactly they are paying for with this hike. Furthermore, Chinese live streams not only reveal secrets about Rolex, but they also encourage buyers to purchase directly. They promote the idea of bypassing intermediaries and claim that you can get the same quality directly from the source at a lower price. If buyers begin to believe this narrative, Rolex's dominance in the market could be threatened. Chinese manufacturers may start to appear as smart competitors who provide quality products at affordable prices. Rolex has always been very concerned with controlling their brand. They closely monitor their image, restrict who can sell their products, and maintain a traditional reputation. However, when videos from China spread rapidly online, the usual methods Rolex uses to protect their brand may not be effective. Online content spreads quickly, reaches a large audience, and can have a lasting impact on people's perceptions. Imagine if your favorite band's private lyrics and music were all over social media. The song would still be good, but some of its appeal would be lost once you know how it was created. This is similar to what is happening with Rolex now. Their famous special ingredient is being revealed, and not everyone will appreciate that. Chinese live streams displaying how Rolex watches are made are not just interesting videos, they are also a test for the brand's core values. The streams raise doubts about whether Swiss-made products are truly unmatched, if the high prices of luxury items are justified, and if maintaining an air of mystery is essential. As Rolex continues to increase prices and protect its reputation, the company will have to find innovative ways to recapture the sense of awe that it used to inspire. Now, we need to understand that it was not only the Chinese manufacturing companies who went live to expose Rolex. Other content creators did too, and what they said is bad. So in this alleged exposure, what exactly was exposed? Let's find out. Details of this exposure. In recent times, more Chinese watchmakers and creators are using live streams to give detailed demonstrations of Rolex watches online. These streams are not simple reviews, but rather detailed sessions where hosts disassemble real Rolex watches and compare them to other models. Viewers can see the internal parts, how they work, and how they stack up against other watches, including replicas and designs from China. Live streams showing the inner workings of watches have caused interest and worry. People who enjoy collecting watches and regular watch enthusiasts are able to see parts of the watch that are usually hidden, such as screws, springs, plates, and the finishing of the movements. Some videos even reveal internal components like the oscillating weight, escapement system, and rotor mechanism. The live streamers say they are not trying to criticize Rolex, but instead provide transparency, education, and the ability to compare different watch brands openly. However, comparing side by side sometimes uncovers details that could potentially damage Rolex's image. Certain individuals have noticed similarities in parts between Rolex watches and cheaper alternatives. There are even allegations that in particular models, some components may not be as distinct or meticulously crafted as Rolex claims. Although these assertions require confirmation from professionals, the videos are already shaping public perception. Rolex's traditionally secretive manufacturing process is appearing more transparent, which isn't always favorable for the brand. The disclosures frequently involve allegations of taking quick ways in putting together products or using parts that may not be completely made within the company. This is important because Rolex has always advertised itself as a company that constructs nearly all parts of its watches in-house. Any evidence to the contrary could influence how people perceive the company's manufacturing standards. During certain live broadcasts, presenters open the back of watch cases and zoom in on the details. They highlight things like how small screws are put in place, how gears move, and how the internal layout compares to that of a cheaper Chinese watch. Some Chinese companies even show that their simpler movements can keep time just as accurately as more expensive options. These actions are going against the traditional image of Rolex as the top luxury watch brand. Rolex is famous for staying quiet, hardly ever doing interviews, keeping production numbers secret, and not talking about their business operations. This approach has made the brand seem mysterious. However, live streams are now revealing more about the brand to the public. This is happening in a very visible way. Rolex has not made any public statements about the live streams, but looking at their past actions, it's likely they will protect their brand. Rolex is known for being very protective of their intellectual property. They have sent legal notices to platforms hosting unauthorized content about their products in the past. They also have strict agreements with dealers and service centers to prevent sharing internal information. Hence, it wouldn't be unexpected if Rolex starts asking for certain live streams to be taken down, especially if they mention brand names, display logos, or feature possible counterfeit items. Rolex might also review its supply chain rules to prevent parts from getting into the wrong hands, whether by accident or through unauthorized sales. This scenario might make Rolex increase their efforts to control their brand more strictly. They could implement stricter guidelines for distributors, employees, and suppliers. They may also begin using new methods like watermarking or serializing internal parts to avoid unauthorized disclosure. These actions would be consistent with Rolex's history of maintaining tight control over their operations. The impact of these live streams may not just affect the company internally, but could also impact the overall market. Rolex, known for more than just its watches, sells prestige. When people buy a Rolex, they are not just purchasing a watch, but also the ideals it represents: perfection, exclusivity, heritage, and mystery. Watching live streams of Rolex watches being dissected and compared to cheaper alternatives can demystify and devalue the luxury brand, potentially hurting its reputation. The easy access to this information may lead some to wonder if the high price tag of a Rolex is truly worth it. Even if the comparisons are incomplete or misleading, just the visual impact can sway public perception. The secondary market for Rolex watches should also be taken into account. These watches frequently sell for a higher price than their original retail price in the unofficial market. One factor behind this is the belief that they are scarce, well-made, and difficult to come by. However, if there are more videos that question these notions, it might change how buyers view Rolex. There could be fewer buyers willing to pay significantly higher prices if they begin to believe that Rolex is not as special or unattainable as previously believed. These live streams could unknowingly assist counterfeiters by giving them detailed information on the internal characteristics and designs of products, allowing them to create more accurate imitations. Counterfeiters have historically attempted to copy Rolex watches, but having access to intricate technical details may result in higher quality counterfeit products that are more difficult to distinguish from the real ones. This poses a potential risk for Rolex, which may need to implement legal and design safeguards to combat this issue. In the world of watches, there is an additional aspect to consider regarding global trends. Chinese watchmakers have shown a big improvement in the past 10 years. Several Chinese brands now make top-notch mechanical movements and use modern production methods. Some even offer watches that are comparable to those made by entry-level Swiss brands, with features like sapphire crystals, ceramic bezels, and stainless steel bracelets. The live streams could be a strategic move by Chinese manufacturers to showcase their quality and expertise in comparison to Rolex. They are aiming to establish themselves as major competitors in the watch industry, rather than just focusing on lower prices. This shift could potentially change the dynamics between Swiss and Chinese watchmakers. Now, to understand the deeper context of this drama, we need to understand in detail what Rolex is all about. Rolex Unlocked, the story behind the crown. Rolex is more than just a brand or a product. It has a rich story that has been meticulously crafted over the years. Each aspect of its past is important. Every new idea was influential, and the decisions made by its creators and leaders have helped mold the perception of Rolex today. Rolex was started in 1905 by Hans Wilsdorf and Alfred Davis in London under the name Wilsdorf and Davis. Back then, wristwatches weren't seen as reliable or stylish, especially for men who typically preferred pocket watches. But Wilsdorf thought differently. He believed that wristwatches could be just as precise, sophisticated, and long-lasting as pocket watches. He aimed to challenge people's perceptions of timepieces. In 1908, Wilsdorf made a daring move by officially registering a new brand name, Rolex. He chose this name because it was short, easy to say in different languages, and could easily fit on a small watch. This decision demonstrated Wilsdorf's careful planning for the company's future. He wasn't just focused on producing watches, but also on creating a distinctive and enduring identity for the brand. In 1919, Rolex moved from London to Geneva, which was a significant change. By moving to Switzerland, Wilsdorf positioned Rolex in the center of the top watchmaking tradition globally. In Geneva, the company was renamed Montres Rolex SA. Being in Switzerland enabled Rolex to collaborate closely with skilled craftsmen, follow established Swiss standards, and advance towards creating highly reliable and respected timepieces. Since the beginning, Rolex has been dedicated to establishing a reputation for outstanding quality. In 1910, they became the first wristwatch company to receive a Swiss certificate of chronometric precision, proving that their watches were not only fashionable, but also highly precise. While other watches often lost time easily, Rolex was known for its dependability. It was more than just a beautiful accessory, it was a reliable instrument. In 1926, Rolex took a big step forward with the development of the Oyster case, which was the first waterproof watch case in the world. This was significant as it shielded the inner workings of the watch from dust and water, allowing people to wear their watches in wet conditions without fear of damage. Despite its simple design, the Oyster case revolutionized the capabilities of watches and became one of Rolex's most renowned features. The brand kept changing and growing. In 1931, Rolex created a self-winding system called the perpetual rotor. This innovation enabled the watch to wind itself by utilizing the wearer's wrist movements. This feature made wearing a Rolex more convenient, as there was no need to manually wind it daily. It also enhanced the accuracy of timekeeping by ensuring that the watch was always fully powered. This was yet another seemingly simple idea that had a significant influence. Rolex went beyond just adding new features to their watches. They also designed timepieces with specific uses in mind. They released various models that eventually became iconic. Each model served a distinct purpose and targeted a particular group of people. For example, the Submariner, which was launched in 1953, was designed for divers. It was the first dive watch that could withstand depths of up to 100 meters, and its striking design appealed to both divers and non-divers alike. The watch's durability and stylish appearance made it a hit with adventurers and fashion enthusiasts. In 1955, Rolex introduced the GMT Master Watch, specifically designed for airline pilots, displaying 2 time zones simultaneously. With easier travel and a more connected world, this watch appealed to a new group of global workers. It was not just a tool, but a representation of contemporary living. In 1945, the Datejust was introduced as the first self-winding watch to switch the date at midnight. This function may seem minor now, but it was significant at the time. The Datejust reassured people that their watch would remain accurate not only in time, but also in dates. A few years later, in 1956, the Day Date was released, which was the first watch to display both the day of the week and the date. It gained the nickname President's Watch due to its timeless style and bold appearance. Other watch models like the Explorer, Milgauss, and Daytona were created for specific uses. The Explorer was meant for mountain climbers and outdoor adventurers, the Milgauss for scientists working near magnetic fields, and the Daytona for race car drivers with a chronograph to measure speed. These watches were not just stylish, they were also functional, designed to help solve problems and support individuals pushing limits. Rolex does not try to follow popular fads. Instead, they are known for doing things differently. One of the reasons for this is their ownership structure. Unlike many other companies, Rolex is not publicly traded and is owned by the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation, a non-profit trust created by the founder in 1944. This unique setup allows Rolex to make decisions at their pace, with a focus on long-term goals and giving back to society. Instead of distributing profits to shareholders, Rolex uses their earnings to support education, science, and charitable organizations. This approach gives Rolex a level of stability and direction that sets them apart from other luxury brands. Rolex stands out because it makes a large portion of its watches in-house. Unlike other companies that purchase parts from outside suppliers, Rolex is vertically integrated. They produce their movements, create their gold, and carry out all testing internally. Each step in the production is closely monitored, with every screw, spring, and gear being inspected for quality. This meticulous and deliberate approach is why Rolex watches are time-consuming to make and are frequently in limited supply. Rolex decides who can sell its watches and only authorize dealers who meet certain standards, and training can sell them. Popular models can have long waiting lists because of limited supply, adding to the brand's exclusivity and appeal. This scarcity makes owning a Rolex feel special and not easily accessible to everyone. In recent years, Rolex has developed initiatives to safeguard its brand and customers. One of these is the Certified Pre-Owned program, which enables customers to purchase used Rolex watches that have been authenticated by the brand. This offers buyers assurance and decreases the spread of counterfeit watches. Additionally, Rolex incorporates subtle laser etching on its watches as a security measure. These marks are difficult to detect without special equipment, but serve as proof of authenticity. Rolex's emphasis on sponsorships is a significant aspect of its brand. The company sponsors various sports and exploration events globally, aligning with the image Rolex aims to portray: excellence, discipline, adventure, and timeless style. The objective is not just to promote, but to engage with individuals who value quality and performance. Rolex has become a dominant force in luxury goods by controlling production, marketing, and branding. Despite not seeking attention, the brand is highly recognizable. With its iconic crown logo, smooth ticking, and impeccable finish, Rolex projects strength and attention to detail. So if this sudden exposure is true, what does it mean for the future of Rolex? Why the battle over Rolex transparency changes everything. In today's digital age, people can now watch live events on their phones, including a new kind of drama involving Rolex watches being shown inside out. While some may see this as harmless or educational, for Rolex, known for its history, secrecy, and prestige, this is a significant issue. In order to grasp the significance of this matter, we must delve into the subtle influence of intrigue. Rolex has a reputation for being discreet. Unlike many other brands, it doesn't heavily promote itself. It doesn't disclose every aspect of its products, and its designs are not frequently updated. Instead, Rolex sells an emotion, a sense of assurance, achievement, elegance, and enduring worth. One of the main reasons why people are willing to spend a lot on a Rolex isn't just the quality of the materials or the mechanics. It's the narrative. It's the feeling that they are acquiring something exceptional, flawless, and exclusive. Imagine someone taking a watch and showing all the parts inside during a live stream. They point out the screws, bridges, rotor, and finish work. This might be exciting for watch enthusiasts, but for Rolex, it takes away the mystique. Revealing too much of the mystery makes it less special. This is the challenge Rolex is currently dealing with. Each brand has its way of protecting its reputation. Rolex, for example, has always maintained a sense of mystery by staying silent and controlling information. They do not disclose details about their supply chains, production numbers, or internal workings, which creates intrigue and interest. However, live streams showing the inner workings of Rolex watches have made the brand seem more transparent and exposed, breaking away from their usual strategy of secrecy. This change is important for customers who rely on Rolex for high-quality products. When someone purchases a Rolex watch, they expect superior craftsmanship. They trust that the watch's interior is just as well made as its exterior. This is what they are investing in. However, if a live stream reveals a part that appears incomplete, or if someone compares Rolex to a cheaper brand and claims they are just as good, doubts can arise. Even if the criticism is not true, the reputation of Rolex may still be affected. Things begin to become more complex at this point. A lot of watchmakers, particularly from China, are providing something that Rolex does not: transparency. These companies share videos showcasing the production process of their watches. They give viewers a look at their factory operations, discuss the various steps involved in production, and clarify the pricing. While these brands may not have the prestige of Rolex, they are offering something that many younger consumers appreciate: honesty. When individuals can witness the manufacturing process of a product and understand its pricing, they feel well-informed and respected. For a generation that values transparency, this transparency can be more appealing than mystery. If Rolex doesn't watch out, these newer brands could start attracting some of its customers. It's not because they are fancier, but because they seem more current. People might start wondering why Rolex is so closed off. If the brand is confident in its products, why not show them off? These inquiries may not be simple to address, but they do add strain. Given these leaks and flow of information, Rolex is expected to react, and it will not be in a friendly manner. The company has a reputation for tightly controlling the image of its products. It exclusively partners with authorized dealers, restricts media coverage, and strongly combats counterfeit products. Therefore, it is likely that the next steps will involve taking legal action against those responsible for the leaks, filing copyright claims, and potentially imposing stricter regulations on who can view their watches. However, while this strategy may safeguard the brand in the short run, it runs the risk of portraying Rolex as outdated. The main problem at hand is the conflict between two important concepts: secrecy and transparency. Rolex represents secrecy, emphasizing perfection through silence. Its brand relies on the belief that some things are improved by keeping them mysterious. In contrast, the internet has sparked a desire for transparency among people. They crave to know what goes on behind the scenes, to inquire and receive genuine responses. Consumers want brands to be open about their processes. This confrontation doesn't just impact Rolex alone, it could have a significant influence on the luxury industry as a whole. If live streaming becomes more widely used and embraced, other leading brands could also feel the same level of scrutiny. Consider fashion companies, automobile manufacturers, and high-end jewelry makers. If customers begin to request increased accessibility, transparency, and honesty, brands will have to make a choice, either adjust or resist the change. Rolex is facing a difficult decision. They are trying to appeal to a younger crowd by being more open, but they risk upsetting their loyal collectors who value tradition. These collectors want their watches to feel exclusive and unique, not ordinary. They want to maintain the sense of mystery and rarity. Rolex needs to find a balance between modernization and tradition to avoid damaging the brand or making it seem old-fashioned. There is another aspect to this story, which is perception. When people start seeing the inner workings of a Rolex watch, they may start comparing it to less expensive watches. They may wonder why the Rolex is priced so much higher. Even if the quality is better, it may be difficult to justify the cost in a world where everything is compared openly. This could lead Rolex to a position where it needs to provide explanations, something it has rarely done in the past. The future for Rolex amidst the controversies. Rolex has been synonymous with luxury, exclusivity, and wealth for more than a century. However, the emergence of live streams and online content has revealed previously concealed information, posing an unexpected challenge for the brand. The concept of maintaining secrecy is now in conflict with a society that craves transparency and information. This crucial juncture will have a significant impact on Rolex's future trajectory. In order to comprehend what lies ahead, it is crucial to proceed cautiously. When discussing videos, leaks, or behind-the-scenes footage, it is important to first verify the accuracy of the information. Is the content authentic? Are the watches authentic? Are the individuals dissecting them qualified to assess what they observe? These inquiries must be addressed before making assumptions. Making bold statements without proper evidence can be damaging to both the brand and the individual making them. In the realm of luxury watches, a single careless assertion can have long-lasting repercussions. The main problem is that Rolex represents exclusivity, with its products being difficult to acquire, expensive, and often in high demand with long waiting lists. This exclusivity makes Rolex watches special. Meanwhile, in today's society, there is a push for transparency and openness. People want to know how things are produced and have real-time access to behind-the-scenes information, whether it be in the food, fashion, tech, or watch industries. The big question is whether exclusivity and openness can coexist harmoniously. Experts in the watch industry are already considering this issue. Writers, analysts, and bloggers in the field have been closely following the live stream trend. Some people think that Rolex should stay true to its traditions. They believe that the appeal of owning a Rolex lies in not knowing every little detail. They argue that too much information could make the watch seem more like a commodity and less like a piece of history. On the other hand, some people think that a limited and carefully planned level of transparency could help Rolex connect with new customers. These individuals suggest that the brand doesn't have to completely abandon its air of mystery, but it can provide controlled glimpses of what goes on behind the scenes. Watch bloggers often act as a bridge between collectors and brands like Rolex. They engage with collectors, compare different watch models, and hold a high regard for Rolex. Some bloggers think that sharing more about the brand's creation process while still preserving its secrets could enhance trust. By selecting the right individuals to share the brand story, Rolex could convey a genuine message. The focus would be on educating rather than flaunting, maintaining a sense of sophistication and reverence. The focus is on the consumer. Currently, consumers have different preferences. Some wealthy buyers prefer a private and quiet experience, and feel special being part of an exclusive group. They believe that too much information could diminish their enjoyment and prefer the product to speak for itself without needing clarification. In contrast, younger buyers are curious and ask more questions. They want to know what sets a Rolex apart from other brands, including the price, manufacturing process, and brand history. They are not against luxury, but desire more transparency in luxury products. This leads us to the next move for Rolex. The company has a decision to make. It can resist content creators more strongly. It can strengthen its focus on privacy to maintain its air of mystery. Alternatively, it can opt for a more strategic approach. It can decide to share its narrative using its perspective. This would involve sharing specific content that highlights quality, expertise, and significance. Rolex wouldn't have to detail every tiny part. It could just remind everyone why it became the top watch brand in the first location. Rolex's strength lies in its ability to take its time. The brand doesn't rush, but instead moves slowly and purposefully. It doesn't follow trends, it surpasses them. This strategy can still be effective in today's fast-paced digital world. Rolex doesn't need to be constantly sharing. It just needs to find the right balance. A touch of transparency, handled with elegance and restraint, could allow it to connect with current customers without alienating its loyal base. The future success of Rolex will rely on its ability to adapt to the changing digital landscape. Online content, like live streams and reviews, will keep expanding, and other brands might prioritize transparency sooner. However, Rolex has a strong advantage in the form of customer trust, which can propel the brand forward if managed wisely. Remaining quiet presents the greatest danger. If Rolex fails to adapt to the evolving landscape, it risks becoming outdated. Consumers may begin to gravitate towards brands that appear more accessible or contemporary. This is why even a minor shift towards being more transparent could have a significant impact. Demonstrating a willingness to listen, even if it is at a slow pace, would be beneficial. It would also communicate that traditional values and advancement can coexist harmoniously. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.